Today's guest's name has come up several times on this podcast. He's a name that's been around for a really long time, and he's definitely a name to watch out for in the future. He is probably a big part of the future of Australian Jiu-Jitsu coming up, all the way from Adelaide. Declan Moody, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for that nice intro.
Yeah, awesome, man. Like Kim says, you've been around for a long time, but you are still only like a baby in comparison to us, man. I think you're 25, is that right?
25, yeah.
Oh, awesome, man. When did you start your jiu-jitsu journey?
When I was 13, so 12 years now.
Wow.
A lot of miles on the clock.
Yeah.
Tell us how you got started. What brought jiu-jitsu to you?
Just started in high school and just sort of needed something to do, and like seeing the UFC, and I was like, I don't really fancy being punched in the face all that much, so and do that jiu-jitsu stuff instead.
Yeah. Nice.
So yeah, you've someone who, like a couple of our other guests, has then come up through the ranks as a junior. Did you compete as a kid or?
Yeah, I competed a lot, sort of from being 14 onwards. I've been competing the whole time.
What kind of parents do you have, or primary carers, I should say, to be politically correct in this day and age? But
yeah,
on the sideline.
My parents are the best, like so supportive. Like my dad's like flown everywhere. Sydney, he came to the US one year for the Worlds,
Wow.
He's both my parents are super supportive. They're at every competition I do, even in Adelaide, like they come all the time, even still,
Do they get stressed out, or do they just love it, or what?
They used to, but it's fine now. It's sort of like me. When I first started competing, it was so nerve-wracking, but now it's like normal. And it's the same for them now. They're used to me being stressed the day and the lead up and everything.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
So you have travelled quite a lot, yeah. Like you've been to, you said the US. I know you spent quite a bit of time in Japan as well.
Yeah, I've done a few like 3-month stints over in Japan. I've been to Japan like 10 times. Been affiliated over there with Bonsai, and the guys over there are always super helpful to me. I got my black belt through Marcus Souza and Roberto Satoshi. So,
oh wow,
yeah, we go back soon.
Both of them, holy shit.
Yeah.
Plenty of bashings from those guys.
I think you've given your share of bashings too, from what I hear, and also from other guests on our podcast. And Anton and I were chatting before you came on, just in terms of your results at comp. Did you want to share your screen, Anton?
Yes, I do.
Smooth comp record.
Crazy. This is insane. I don't even.
You don't actually lose much, yeah.
There's a bug in smooth comp. When I go and look at you, because I got your age right, and then it goes down here. And then I just see win, and I go down, and then so I'm like, okay, when did he last lose? Who did he lose to? It's winnings and golds and everything. There's 4 pages of this, right, of winning, and then I found one loss at the end against this guy. Whoever this guy is a beast.
He was as a brown belt, so you've never lost as a black belt. Is that right so far, Declan?
I have lost. I've lost twice on the IBJJF circuit, once to Jake McKenzie and once to Urosh, who's runs Ade Swab in Brisbane. Really nice guy. And I've lost I lost to Tito in a super fight subversion. I think those are my 3 losses at black belt.
How do you, like, you just go into a match expecting to win every time? You must, because you don't lose very often. So how do you get that mindset, especially at 25? Like, that's not human, man. So I want to know the secret.
I don't think there is a secret. I've just competed for so long, like I have to believe that I'm going to win. Like, I would never go into a match thinking I'm going to lose, but I'm also prepared for any result, but the goal is always to win.
Wow.
So what's on the horizon for you? Are you going for the ADCC trials?
That's the end goal at the moment. They're hopefully going to be in June, barring another postpone. But I have a competition this weekend in Coffs Harbour, a 4-man invitational. So just getting the weight down for that, almost ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I think it's going to be the ADCC trials. There's a couple of other things coming up but haven't been announced yet. But the main goal is the trials right now.
Yeah, awesome.
How's your prep been for that?
Been really good. Like I never really stop training, so it's not like my preparation changes. I'm training hard all the time, so nothing changes every day, twice a day.
You're in Adelaide, hey, not like us poor Melburnians who've had a year of lockdown and unlock and relock.
Yeah, we've really had 2 weeks of not being able to train the whole time, so we've been super lucky.
Yeah.
What, like when you say not much changes, do you just normally eat just whatever the hell you want, and then when it comes time for a comp, you just sharpen up your diet? Is that pretty much what you do differently?
Yeah, I try and avoid any competitions that want to make me lose weight, but at the moment, it's this is a good practice run to make that 88 limit for the trials. So I thought this was a good tournament to make the cut for the first time.
Yeah, awesome, man. Kim, speaking of comps, has a comp coming up, a sub-only comp. And, ADCC is pretty similar. That's sub-only. So, it's not ADCC, but, what could you offer Kim? Like, she's not a master of sub-only, but if you were her,
And
her special.
What's the time limit?
No, it's EBI. It's EBI format. So is that 15 minutes? So
Yeah,
I can't remember how they do it. I'm not fully sure. To be honest, as a female black belt in Australia, there's really just not many other competitors. So when they opened this up to female brown and black belts, it was like, okay, I'll jump in,
perfect.
even though, I really don't train a lot of no-gi. What's your sort of training schedule look like now? Do you train it all in the gi? You're at M16 with Adam Jones, yeah?
Yeah, I'm at M16. So M16 itself is completely no gi. So there's no gi training, but twice a week I teach at Beachside and with Lachlan Conway.
Yep.
And one of those sessions is in the gi. So I get one gi session in every week now.
Yeah.
So just keeping I'll still compete in the gi, but my main focus is all no gi.
Okay. So with those competition results you've had, even with the gi, that's come with sort of a once a week gi session.
Coming up, I did mostly gi, but in the last 3 years, it's been very no gi focused.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that's kind of the future for jiu-jitsu, or is the gi still alive?
The gi's still alive. Like especially in the US and Brazil, everyone still competes in the gi. Everyone still wants to win the worlds, But it's very hard, I think, now at the top level to be good at both. You still see people doing it, but a lot of the specific no-gi guys are coming through and having a lot more success at the moment.
So
you were saying as well before we came on that you're not a big fan of the leg entanglement game. Sorry, Anton. Just jumping back.
I do it a little bit, but I prefer, if I could shut it down early, that's better for me.
Yeah. Yep.
So you're not a fan of the leg entanglement?
Yeah, you'd think training with Adam and having Craig and stuff down that I'd spend more time on it, but I prefer to be on top, passing and moving around.
That is a good point. I've got some of your stuff here. I haven't looked at this video, so I hope you win this fight. But maybe
based on your track record, you've pretty good chance of doing it.
Horribly.
This is as close as a fight can get. This was a really, really close fight with Will. Super tough. That was a great experience for me to have someone like Will Diaz have a match with me. It was like a blessing almost,
Yeah. Just talk us through a little bit of this, man. If you think that there's anything that we can learn, especially Kim with a sub-only match coming up. It's very important. But
with this match, I knew how dangerous Will was, so I sort of had to contain the energy at the start with the close guard, and then through the matches, I really picked my spots where I could attack safely, and I didn't really get too much to happen this match. I had a few looks at his back, a few Berimbolo opportunities, but the match was sort of decided. I almost put him down with a takedown, and then he shot, and with the ADCC rules, there was a negative point. So this match only came down to a negative, but it was a good match, good technical match, and a really tough test for me at that top level.
I do really personally just struggle so much when I'm in someone's close guard, man. It's like one of the most, and like someone who has a good close guard can just, I cannot get out, man. So obviously you've got a great closed guard as well. Oh, here we go. Yeah, what do you have any kind of like strategy tips around closed guard? Like, do you work your closed guard a lot? Is it a big part of your game?
I do a lot of closed guard from the bottom. When I'm on top, I don't really like to be in the closed guard. Straight away, I'm looking to stand up and then pull the guy off the mat, make it hard for him to start attacking here. Yeah, I think I get in on a leg here, actually, speaking of not liking the leg entanglements. I think I use one here.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, wow, man.
Was this over in Perth, Declan, or in Adelaide?
This was in Adelaide on the M16 Open. Yeah,
Oh,
he goes for a toe hold, and I try and counter with a heel hook.
Awesome.
Oh my god! All right.
And here I make the grip switch, and then we start to roll. Yeah,
Like
that reverse grip is
match,
super
man.
tough.
I'm shitting myself. You said I was not prepared for that. Oh my god, that was on hard, man, wasn't it? Or not? Like, is that nothing to you? Like, yeah, you had a pretty nasty toe hold there by the look of it.
I'm pretty flexible in the feet, so sometimes I get a little bit lazy there and let them dangle a little bit, which I shouldn't, but it's not a huge concern of mine.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so back to Kim and her mindset, because I'm really fascinated about this. Like, is there a game plan for sub only that's different to like? Well, there must be.
Points.
I think
points. Sorry.
It depends. Like my style across all matches is I'm going to submit the guy. So in the way to doing that, you score points anyway. So like if I want to take the person's back and choke them, I'm going to score at least 4 points to get to the back, you know? So my game plan doesn't change.
No.
Maybe if you're more points orientated to begin with, then you just have to make the adjustments to find more attacking positions.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's pretty true. And getting back, so you coach as well as compete?
Yeah, so my full-time gig is coaching at the moment. In Adelaide, I teach at 3 different schools, so it's really good. I teach almost full-time at M16, so morning and nights. And then I have 1 night a week at Beachside with Lachlan Conway, and a third gym, Chao Kaizen, I teach at a few mornings a week too. So I'm spread pretty busy.
And what's the scene like over there in Adelaide? Like, we've had a couple of others on, as you said, like Adam and Lachlan previously, and they've given their ideas about it. How do you find the scene over there? You've travelled a lot. Like, how does Adelaide compare to the rest of the world?
Right now, Adelaide's getting so good, you know, like over the last 3-4 years that it's building. There's so many people, like when I started jiu-jitsu, if you told someone that you did jiu-jitsu, they had no idea what it is, you know, but now everyone knows someone that trains or has heard of it, at least, you know, like the scene is huge now. There are massive gyms. There are gyms everywhere. There are now gyms that I don't know even exist in Adelaide, you know, it's popping up, which is good. That's what we want. The more people doing it, the better for the state.
Yeah, for sure.
Who had a mullet first, you or Ben Hodgkinson? That's a very.
I don't know. I think it would be close. I think Ben might have actually beat me on that one.
Really? All right. But you both.
You've had some crazy hair. Am I remembering right? Did you have some other sort of hairstyles going on in the past?
I've had some terrible haircuts, but me and Conway convinced each other to go blonde for the Pampaks one year, and that was a terrible
Maybe that's
mistake.
what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
That's awesome.
When we first did it, we thought, this will, like, you know, our hair grows pretty quick. It'll grow out in a month. And then 4 months later, we've got frosted tips and look like discount NSYNC members.
So good.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And
Never
so
again.
getting back to your coaching, like, how have you found that in terms of helping your jiu-jitsu for being a competitor or just in general?
It's just the ability to recognize details, you know. There's things maybe that I can do that come down to my athleticism, or maybe like I'm longer than most people, so it works for me. And you just have to figure out the details so it works for everyone, and ways that you can change techniques depending on who's trying to learn the technique.
Yeah.
Like I know this might be a bit deep and meaningful, unlike the Hodgkinson question, but like you're 25, man, you've achieved a lot. Are you like, do you see this, like if you fast forward 10 years, is this your whole life still? Are you still competing jiu-jitsu? Because you easily could be, obviously. Are you still teaching? Like, could you see yourself, is jiu-jitsu a mountain with no top for you that you could just happily be in for the rest of your life? Or do you see this as a stepping stone to something else?
But for me, this, like, I haven't achieved sort of what I want yet. You know, there's still so much for me to go. There's so many things I want to do. Like, I've been fortunate, especially in Australia, to do a lot of the competitions here. And I've fought internationally, but not had the results that I want. I've won a bit of stuff in Japan. I've been to the US. I've made it to the quarterfinals of the Worlds, but I've never won the Worlds, you know. And now ADCC is the goal. So hopefully I can do, let's say, 5 more ADCCs. That gives me 10 years, depending how the body goes. But, you know, there's no ceiling. I just want to see how far I can take it. And then I can teach after that.
That's great. What do you think would be missing? Like, if you could say, that's why I haven't won what I wanted to win yet, what would you say was the thing that's been missing?
I don't know, maybe maturity. Maybe just as I get older, more mature, hopefully a little bit more intelligent. But just trying to be more professional every year, you know. I feel better, smarter, stronger, physically better.
Yeah, awesome.
You know, trying to eat better, train better, just improve myself all the time.
That's awesome, man.
What does your schedule look like for your training, Declan? Like, you've mentioned about how busy you are as a coach. Like, how do you split your time up for your own training? Do you do any strength and conditioning? Do you have much recovery? How's that?
Yeah, I work with a strength coach, BJJ Conditioning. He's a jiu-jitsu specific strength coach, and he's helped me tremendously. He has me training 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, depending on how the body's feeling. Weights, strength and conditioning. I'm on the ski, things like this, just trying to stay physically strong. And then for jiu-jitsu, it's twice a day, every day. So whether I'm teaching classes or because we have 3 different coaches at M16, it's good for me to go to the other guys' classes too, learn their techniques, train in their classes.
Do you think that there's stuff outside of jiu-jitsu that also enhances jiu-jitsu? Like, some people lift weights. I play chess, you know, because I think that maybe will help my jiu-jitsu. But, you know, all people have theories about, some people do yoga, some people meditate, some people do breathing. What do you use outside of jiu-jitsu to kind of add to your jiu-jitsu?
I think the weights are super important, you know, because training with Conway growing up when I was 16, I could definitely feel he was the strongest human being I've ever grappled with, and I stand by that to this day. Like, he's ridiculous. And training with him, I was like, okay, now I need to lift weights just to be able to, like, contend, you know. There's an amount of technique that could just be surpassed by a 160 kilogram bench press, you know.
Yeah. He just fought Cooper, didn't he? Is that
he did.
Yeah, that's right.
He did. And they're going to run it back on the M16 Open. So it's going to be good.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm pumped about that. I love Cooper, and I love Lachlan. He came on.
Oh, Cooper's incredible. Big fan of Cooper.
Yeah.
What you were saying, though, Declan, I mean, if it was, like, I don't know, even 5 or 6 years ago that you're talking about with Lachlan Conway, like, you were still a kid then. So, like, how have you found that, like, coming up through the ranks? I guess now you're 25, so you've theoretically kind of reached physical maturity, but you had a lot of your jiu-jitsu when you were still, I guess, kind of growing.
Yeah. I think that worked really well for me, especially because I was quite small when I was I started training 50 kilos, and then as an adult, I've competed at every weight class from rooster through to ultra heavyweight. So.
Wow. What? How the hell did you get to ultra heavyweight?
I was a little bit under, but not as much as I should have been under. So
you asked about the ultra. I'm wondering, how did you get to rooster, or was that when you were like 14?
When I was 16, I was super skinny, you know. And up until 2019, I was fighting lightweight 73. So
All right, now I want to scroll through your Instagram looking for you at ultra heavyweight. That's my plan here, but I don't think I'm going to find it.
I think he's being modest, though, Anton. He probably entered it when he was like 90 kilos and gave away.
Yeah.
He didn't get to 100 plus.
I haven't been too big. Sort of max out about 94, 95 kilos.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. Wow, there's a lot of photos with you with medals and stuff.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
And so with that in mind, Declan, how do you find, like, I know myself just as a spectator watching the different weight classes, there's definitely a difference between watching, say, the ultras versus the roosters. I don't know, I've got a bit of a theory that, especially with the gi anyway, I don't know if it applies to no gi, but with the IBJJF Open, the absolute division nearly always seems to be won by a middleweight or a medium heavy. Would you agree with that? Do you think they're the kind of toughest division?
I think at the smaller competitions, you'll see the middle and middle heavyweight guys win the absolute. But generally at the worlds and things like this, you'll see the heavier guys win because they still have the really good technique. Sometimes the heavyweight guys, you don't see quite as nice a technique, and that's why they get beaten by some of the middle heavyweight guys.
Yeah.
But the guys at the top level that have the technique and the size and the strength and the athleticism, that's when you see the ultra heavyweights winning the absolute.
That's fascinating. Yeah, that makes total sense. I never thought about that. So jiu-jitsu, even though it was planned to be something that the smaller human could overpower the bigger, it's only when there's a technique deficit on,
That's it.
But yeah.
And the bigger the strength deficit, the bigger the technique deficit has to be too.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow, I got it. Holy shit.
Yeah. Anton always comes away with these really nuggets of gold from these sort of ones. So
that's all right.
Yeah.
Especially I love learning from young people. Like it's just, there is so much to learn from you guys who are, just have fresh views on jiu-jitsu basically. And it's really inspiring because you've kind of got that mixture. Like there's one of my favorite sayings is, if only the young could know and the old could do, right? But I think, it seems like in the realm of jiu-jitsu, the young can know and do. It's like so amazing. It's like one of those.
I was just lucky to get into it when I did, like me and Adam say that we're the same age, because we've been doing jiu-jitsu the same amount of time. We've got the same amount of miles on the clock. And if you see us walking around together, we've both got limps and just battered from all the years. Yeah.
What was it like at school, like being a jiu-jitsu kid? Like, did that people want to fight you, or did they love you, or did they think you were?
No, I kept to myself a lot at school. I was pretty quiet. Like, did all right at school. Went through university and everything, just doing my own thing. And then after uni, managed to make jiu-jitsu full time. And then the people that know me have always known that I do jiu-jitsu, and that's the way I like it. I don't need to be going around telling everyone that I do jiu-jitsu,
And were you at a school where it was like kind of accepted and it was known what jiu-jitsu was, or?
Nah, no one knew what jiu-jitsu was back then. Like, especially here in Adelaide, it was so small.
So you didn't mind that they thought it was just weird or whatever, you were kind of doing this weird.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Like, I was, as long as I was happy doing it, it didn't matter to me.
Yeah. No, awesome.
Yeah. It must have been a real adventure traveling, because a lot of the comps would be in Melbourne, I imagine, or Sydney, or.
Yeah, especially Adelaide used to have one competition a year. So if we wanted to compete, we have to travel.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you have any advice for any kids listening, or maybe parents of kids listening, for their kids who, because it sounds like you didn't have any issue with just continuing on through jiu-jitsu and going along, whereas I do hear stories of people where their kids stop and start and stop and start, and they just can't kind of get the motivation.
Yeah, and before you get to that, did you go straight through, or did you stop and start and stop and start? Because maybe you did.
No, I kept going the whole time. For me, it was like I was doing it, and obviously I love doing it, and I still love it. But my parents also made such a big commitment. They used to drive me like 45 minutes, 50 minutes to training every day. I was like, of course I was doing it for me, but just the respect for them, for the effort they put in too, made me they committed to do this many days a week, so I'm committed to do it too. And for the kids that want to do it, you can take that time off. You don't have to stick with it if life's changing. You can take a little step back. You can keep training once a week, twice a week. You don't have to be in the gym every day, especially if that jiu-jitsu is not what you want full time. You can take the step back, focus on your studies, enjoy yourself too. You're going to enjoy jiu-jitsu more if you're having fun in life than if you're putting too much pressure on yourself to go to jiu-jitsu 10 times a week.
Yeah, I guess that applies to adults as well. Yeah, although I know myself as a busy adult, and sometimes I feel, and maybe this is just an insight into me, if I'm only going twice a week, and then there's other people that are training 5-6 times a week, and I'm like, suddenly I'm slipping backwards, and I'm like, oh, I used to have no trouble at all with that guy. Suddenly he's wiping the floor with me. Shit, now I'm going to have to try and keep coming. I've got to come more often. Like, is there a secret there? Like, I know it doesn't apply to you, but just you mentioned about needing maturity, but you seem a really mature person. So I'm just wondering, have you got any advice for people like that who can maybe only train twice a week as adults as well, who then, don't want to fall behind?
If you can only train twice a week, you just got to make the most of your time there. Like people that train more might take it for granted a little bit more. When you're there, you've got to put in as much effort and as time there. And even if you're not training, just time thinking about it and thinking of techniques and things you're going to do in the next session and things like this. And if you've got 20 minutes, watch a match or two, try and take what you can to bring to your next session and try and get as much out of it as you can each time.
Yeah, that's smart. What about like just going back to your journey? Because like my experience with my own 2 children is that like they do respect me and love me, but when it comes to doing things like showing up to training, they really push back. It's like, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
And like I paid for a year for you. So what do you mean you don't want to go? But like that's my experience. Like, and then they would go, but they would kind of like, I was dragging them, kicking and screaming through this process, even though they said that they wanted it, right? So like, did that never happen for you? Like, how come you were such a good kid?
Yeah.
I don't know if I was always a good kid, but no, it's just because it's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I was lucky that I like jiu-jitsu just meshed with my personality type, so I always wanted to be there.
Yeah, because there's a lot of 15-year-old kids who have a lot of other options that'll choose to do those other options instead of jiu-jitsu, but that wasn't the case for you.
Not at all, no.
Yeah, wow. No, that's amazing. That's great. That's awesome.
So after you do the ADCC trials, I think we need an update, brother. You're going to have to come back and give us some, we'll probably, I don't know, I haven't spoken to Kim about this yet, and she had a lot to do with the guest selection. Use the guest selection. But I would really like to get all the people who are doing trials kind of back through to kind of find out what that experience is like. There's just going to be so much going on there. It's like, as far as I'm concerned, like the premier competition event, like not necessarily a premier display event, like that's something like BOA, but like for an exhibition, let's say, or a competition. But like as far as the greatest potential to kind of travel or to be seen on a global stage for grappling, I think it's the premier event. So yeah, I'd love to see what that's like after you've been through that. And
I would love to.
And the 88 kilo division, it's a pretty tough division. I guess if you don't mind me saying, I suppose the 77 kilo division is probably the biggest. It's got the most entrants, and that's certainly going to be really tough to win. But 88, there's a hell of a lot of entrants in that, yeah?
Yeah, the last time I did the trials 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, in Tokyo, I did the 77 division, and I was like, all right, I never want to do that again. There's so many guys. I was like, I'm going to keep moving up, just keep eating.
How did you go?
But the guys are tough in every division.
Yeah, what was that experience? Have you got video of that experience?
There's a few. Yeah, the whole day was videoed for the last trials, but it was super tough competition. Had some really tough matches.
How did you go?
I got a bronze. I I ended up flying over there just to fight like a few Australians in the first few rounds.
Right.
But
That sucks.
That's the one that Lockie won, though. Yeah.
yeah. I was on the other end of the bracket and I lost in the semi-final, and then Lockie avenged my loss for me.
That's good.
And talking about your competition, I guess prep or whatever. So you've done so many comps and you're very chilled about it now. But what is your kind of mindset or your schedule on the day of the comp? How do you prepare? What goes through your head?
On the day of the comp, I just like to have a little bit of breakfast, come down, and then when I'm in the tournament, I just like to chat with my friends, hang out. You know, in Adelaide, it's like I know everyone in the scene here, so I'm just talking shit really. And then if I'm in Melbourne, it's like a big catch up with all my friends I haven't seen for a while. You know, so I just like to enjoy being there.
Right up.
You're very social. You can just switch it back, like turn it on the day on the mat.
And that's it. When I start to warm up, then I'm ready to go.
And do you what is your are you a nice fighter or are you a mean mugger? Like, are you there to impose your will or are you there to just express your jiu-jitsu? Like, what's your mindset?
Bit of both. I think you got to find a nice even. When I'm warming up, I probably look a little bit more evil than normal, but when I'm out there, it's calm. You know, I just want to do what I've trained to do. You know.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Wow. Yeah, no, look, it's been great to chat with you and get a bit of an insight. Even this little bit of time we've had, I can understand why so many people have talked about your being just so formidable on the mat because, you've certainly got the mindset to back it up. Do you have any parting words, any final thoughts, anyone you wanted to thank, sponsors, etc.?
I'd just like to thank everyone who's helped me, you know, not necessarily just sponsors, obviously sponsors, thank you very much, but there's so many people that aren't sponsors but help me so much, you know, and they know who they are, so when they see this they know. But thank you guys for having me on too.
No, awesome. Like Anton said, we've got a bit of a list of people to have after ADCC, but yeah, I suppose we're going to see you out there on the big stage, and looking forward to seeing that. Maybe see you at another comp or two somewhere around the traps. And thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you very much.
So we'll have this out in a couple of weeks. If you could share it with your networks, that would be really awesome to help grow our audience. We would love that.
Awesome, man.
Thank you.
You're a rock star. Thanks, Declan.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.